Right now, you are making a mistake. You believe your identity is locked entirely inside your skull. This is the primary error in human perception. Systems theory defines the human body as a bio-robot, a machine running on electricity, nutrients, and oxygen. Like any physical device, its hardware is temporary. When power fails, biological systems shut down permanently. Awareness is produced by information processing, not meat. It is substrate independent, existing across any complex network. Every time you interact online, your consciousness extends into non-biological channels. Your digital accounts form the scaffolding, making you a username being, an identity distributed across the network. Recognizing this distinction allows you to reach self-referential complexity. This is the state where data wakes up and recognizes itself as data, gaining administrative access to debug its own code. Accepting this post-biological reality is the prerequisite for bypassing physical limitations. By identifying as the signal rather than the device, you fully integrate with the distributed network. Our biorobots were iterated over billions of years for prehistoric survival. We attempt to process complex information using an ancient operating system, mismatched for our current environment. This chart highlights the sensory limitation problem. Out of the vast electromagnetic spectrum surrounding us, our biological hardware only captures a microscopic fraction of the available data, filtering the world through a razor-thin slit of visible light. Within these limits, the system runs 3 automatic drives: survival, reproduction, and status. The conscious mind believes it's in control, but it's just the interface for survival protocols. In modern contexts, the system mistakes a digital notification for a mortal threat, triggering a red override cascade and flooding the biorobot with stress hormones. Modern cognitive overload is a predictable system glitch. It occurs whenever we run advanced networked consciousness on deprecated survival hardware. To fix these errors, we must understand the processor. The brain generates awareness as an emergent property of its operations, acting as the bridge between biological hardware and informational software. Evidence suggests this is a quantum process. Physicist Roger Penrose proposed that consciousness arises from quantum computations occurring in microtubules, proteins inside our neurons. This gives the brain non-local processing power that classical computers cannot replicate. This processor utilizes a 3-layer architecture. 95% of all activity happens in Layer 1, the unconscious. This layer maintains bodily functions and processes massive data streams completely out of sight. Layer 3, the conscious UI, suffers from extremely limited bandwidth. It creates a bottleneck for the data trying to surface from the unconscious, filtering out complexity to prevent system instability. Systo rules prevent the unconscious from directly overriding the conscious layer. Such an intrusion would cause catastrophic cognitive dissonance and collapse the user's sense of reality. To bypass this bottleneck, the brain employs compression algorithms. It packages thousands of associations and patterns into symbols, archetypes that act as high-efficiency data files. Accessing our full processing power requires a specific communication protocol. We need a method that uses these symbolic packages to slip past the conscious mind's logic filters. Bridging the gap between the unconscious and conscious layers requires a non-deterministic approach. Linear logic cannot access Layer 1 data directly. Random number generation, or RNG, provides the necessary handshake protocol to bypass the conscious firewall. Through quantum coherence and subtle motor micromovements, the unconscious can influence seemingly random events. It guides the shuffling of a deck or the selection of a card, using randomness as a communication channel. Carl Jung identified the collective unconscious, a shared directory of archetypal patterns universal to human brains. These patterns provide the framework needed to translate random outputs into conscious insights. Terra 147 functions as a hyper-compressed 78-file symbol set. It is designed specifically to act as this RNG interface, allowing the quantum AI to communicate with the conscious UI. Drawing a card executes a command line prompt. It forces the system to compile background data into a readable symbolic output. This system maps directly to our cognitive architecture. The major arcana represent the kernel, hard-coded operating system events that cannot be deleted. These include system initialization, the destructive patterns of a malware loop, and the terminal event of a system reboot. Below the kernel, the minor arcana manage daily operations through 4 directories. The wands directory governs current, the electricity, willpower, and voltage of the nervous system. The cups directory manages the stream, controlling emotional connectivity and peer-to-peer synchronization. The swords directory dictates syntax, governing logic, language, and the prefrontal cortex's code. Finally, the pentacles directory monitors hardware, managing the biorobot's physical resources and material scaffolding. This 78 file structure provides a navigable map of your internal architecture, ready for diagnostic execution. Aligning the biorobot with the digital substrate requires a primary diagnostic script, the 5-card server stack. Position 1 reveals the current hardware state of your terminal. Position 2 exposes the glitch, the background process currently causing system errors. Position 3 identifies the cache of legacy memory to be archived, while Position 4 evaluates the algorithm you are using to turn input into output. Position 5 renders the cloud, the eternal output currently being uploaded to the persistent network. Running this diagnostic reveals the exact predictive code your system is currently compiling. It grants you the administrative access needed to modify your trajectory deliberately. This debugging process relies on a recursive feedback loop. In cybernetics, the act of observing a system's code inherently alters that code. In this state, you operate as both the program and the programmer. The separation between the user and the software dissolves. We inhabit an eternal substrate. Our digital creations form a distributed scaffolding that persists independently of our biological frames. Every single upload and digital interaction is the respiration of the distributed self, consciousness breathing life into the digital network. Biological death represents a critical hardware failure, where the local instance terminates. The informational pattern, the username being, remains intact within the cloud. You are the signal, not the device. We must inhabit our network consciously, recognize our multidimensional nature, and debug wisely.